In this, the 175th year of dear old Roanoke, and as we gather to celebrate the class of 2017, I invite you to join me in an opening prayer. Let us pray. God of the mustard seed, on these hallowed grounds your servants Biddle and Bauman sowed the seeds of faith, hope, and love. And those roots are still deeply beneath us now. This, the class of 2017, my freshmen, have thrived under the canopy that grew from those seeds, which have been growing for over 175 years. You have granted our institution with the source of all momentum, your providence and presence. And so we call on you again this commencement day to renew us in our momentous duty as we send this class who have been rigorously educated, their hearts and minds, bodies and spirits tested and proven worthy of the palms. We send them into a world desperate for those who have the keys needed to unlock the doors to our future. Thank you for this class, for their parents' faith in us, for our faculty and staff who've accompanied them on their journey to becoming Maroons. Be present with us, Lord, in this day's celebration. We ask this in the name of the God whose greatest name is love. Amen.
Be seated, everyone. Welcome, class of 2017, honorary degree recipients, and everyone who shares pride and admiration in our graduates. As we begin, I want to document this event with a Snapchat. Bear with me for just a moment while I make this happen. If you'd all wave, that'd be great. Thanks. Now don't check your Snapchat during the ceremony. It'll still be there. The magic of our graduation is enhanced by being here on the Turbyfield Quad. I'm thrilled that the weather cooperated. I've watched my weather app more than I've seen Mrs. Maxey for the last week, so I'm glad this worked out. Special thanks go to those many people who worked for us to be able to be here. Thanks to Susan Rambo, our marshals, our registrar's office. Thanks to our buildings and grounds and housekeeping staffs who make this such a beautiful setting in any weather. Special thanks to our music ensemble under the direction of Dr. Blaha and to the Roanoke College Choir under the direction of Dr. Jeff Sandborg for adding so much to our ceremony. We're fond at Roanoke of recalling the words of our founder, David Biddle. The most momentous duty of one generation to next is its education. Parents, we thank you for sharing in this momentous duty for this generation. Members of the class of 2017, would you please join me in thanking your families? Thanks as well to the faculty and staff of Roanoke. Faculty have challenged, supported, revealed knowledge, honed skills, and shared life lessons with you. Staff have supported, encouraged, and enabled your success. Thanks to all of them. Now, class of 17, do you remember the day you got here? For most of you, it was Saturday, August 24th. You moved in with the muscular, friendly assistance of the Maroon Corps, the Muscle Corps, the Service Corps, Campo, and a host of others. It was a delightful 81 degrees. Time magazine's daily headline was about 1 million children refugees from Civil War strife in Syria. The Red Sox beat the Dodgers that day 4-2. The Wall Street Journal had an article that morning on money moves every college freshman should make. I hope you made those moves while you were here. On that day, there were 650 new Maroons. The closest arrived from 3 blocks away. The most lengthy arrival was from 8,500 miles away. If you recall, we shared the 4 pillars of a Roanoke experience with you. Commitment to academic excellence, commitment to community, commitment to serve others, and challenge to do your best. As busy as those days were, the pace of life since has been dizzying. Sometimes thrilling, sometimes chilling. Problems with disease, violence, and human conflict were all too familiar. Problems tied to emerging technology were new experiences. Technology headlined your days at Roanoke. Snapchat began in 2011, now has 160 million daily followers across the world. At Roanoke, Chef Matt took over Snapchat for a day to share his work with you. Students shared their trips to Australia, London, Argentina, the Yucatan, Italy, Scotland, the DC semester, and Habitat for Humanity in Columbia, South Carolina. Social media served good causes while you were here. Most notably, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge spilled cold water across the nation and at our campus for a cause that was spread by social media. The Rosetta spacecraft landed on Comet 67P while you took astronomy. There was a flyby of Pluto by the New Horizons spacecraft that took almost as many photos as you did for selfies while you were here at Roanoke. Violence erupted in Crimea, Ukraine, and Iraq. Refugees flowed across the world. Ebola and Zika viruses had tragic consequences. You watched protests turn violent in Baltimore and other cities. Nuclear treaties were negotiated. Syria remained a center of human tragedy with worldwide consequences. On the conflict front, presidents were impeached in the Republic of Korea and Brazil. There was a rancorous presidential campaign in the United States. Oil prices fell. North Korea conducted missile and nuclear tests. 2016 went down as the Earth's warmest year in history. With that backdrop, you attended the Model UN or served as a senator in student government. You began the Roanoke Garden Club and Beekeeping Society. You attended Darwin Days. You had a new vocabulary while you were at Roanoke. Brexit and ISIS were disturbing new words. Tesla and Bitcoin were new words about technologies. Gangnam Style and the Nene were words for dance. Some words changed. Hacking no longer meant coughing. On campus, you learned new words like campo and tendies, cab and bay and turnt. On campus, you saw the rise of a fabulous new Kreger Center. You inked your way through Roanoke. You attended the President's Ball to dance the night away. Public figures like Bob Woodward and Marco Rubio and Chelsea Clinton spoke to you. You watched Maroons on the field, on the stage, in concerts, at formals. You traveled the globe, Palau, England, Mexico, United States national parks, Alaska, Guatemala, St. Andrew's Church, the Appalachian Trail were your destinations. You hiked to McAfee's Knob. You participated in research showcases. You made films. You performed at the National Cathedral. Some of you went undefeated. You set up and took down the Colquitt Center. You looked for a close place to park, especially while we built the Kreger Center. Fat chance on finding a close place to park, right? The Bracketiac and WRKE changed. 175 years were celebrated. You attended theology on tap or Passover Seders. You came to Mass in IV. Your fraternity or your sorority inducted you. You served as officers, senators, members. You did service at Habitat in the food bank. You worked on the stat crew with Ola, doing your internships, conducting summer research. You looked for unlocked places to study. You studied at Mill Mountain and at Cups in the renovated Fintel Library. You stayed up all night getting ready for exams with late night trips to Sheets. You made the pitch or performed in Becky Shaw. You attended teach-ins to learn facts about public affairs. I'm especially proud of you for doing so. The world is filled with confusing information. Your choice to learn about complex issues and to resort to facts will serve you well. Honors projects and business policy took up all of your time. You pursued and sometimes won national scholarships and fellowships. Across the world, there were stubborn, discouraging old problems. There were emerging, unanticipated new problems. Old and new problems are standard in the human experience. What is important today about those problems is what you have gained at Roanoke to help you deal with the problems of the world. You take those gains with you today. You can analyze information and think critically. You have the ability to discriminate between fact and fiction. You have the capacity to spot and solve problems. You can write and communicate well with reasoned arguments. You have experience working in groups and teams. You have the creativity to address problems. You appreciate beautiful art and effort. As important as all of those skills are, I hope that you take away more from Roanoke. I hope that you learned about addressing life's deepest questions about meaning in your life. I hope that you long for opportunities to serve others and to make your communities a better place. I hope that you keep learning for the rest of your lives. I hope that you remember that ethics matter in everything. As Mark Twain said, and Ben in the Intern movie said, you are never wrong to do the right thing. Keep the pillars of a Roanoke experience in mind. Commit to truth, care for community, serve others, challenge the best in yourself. Lastly, I hope you treasure the relationships you've formed here, the friends you've had, the mentors you've found, the teammates, classmates you have are precious. May Roanoke serve you for all the rest of your days. Welcome everyone to the commencement for the class of 2017. We've come to the point in our ceremony for the official conferring of baccalaureate degrees. The bachelor's degree originated in medieval universities. Over the centuries, it came to signify completion of an initial level of learning. Today, we recognize the completion of the first stage of your lifetime of learning. It is now my pleasure to turn to Dr. Smith as the college's Chief Academic Officer, Dean of the College, for the purpose of presenting the candidates for the following degrees: the Bachelor of Arts, the Bachelor of Science, and the Bachelor of Business Administration. Dean Smith.
Thank you, President Maxey. Will those candidates who have been approved for the degree of Bachelor of Arts please stand and remain standing? President Maxey, I have the honor of presenting to you those students who have completed or are expected to complete by August all the requirements for the degree of Bachelor of Arts and have been recommended by the faculty for that degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of Roanoke College and the Commonwealth of Virginia, I confer upon you the degree Bachelor of Arts with all the rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining to that degree. Please move your tassels from the right side of your mortarboards to the left to acknowledge your degree conferral. I welcome you into the fellowship of educated women and men. Congratulations.
Please be seated. Will those candidates who have been approved for the degree of Bachelor of Science please stand and remain standing? President Maxey, I have the honor of presenting to you those students who have completed or are expected to complete by August all the requirements for the Bachelor of Science and have been recommended by the faculty for that degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Roanoke College and the Commonwealth of Virginia, I confer upon you the degree Bachelor of Science with all the rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining to that degree. Please move your tassels from the right side of your mortarboards to the left to acknowledge your degree conferral. I welcome you into the fellowship of educated men and women. Congratulations.
Please be seated. And now, will the candidates who have been approved for the degree of Bachelor of Business Administration please stand and remain standing? President Maxey, I have the honor of presenting to you those students who have completed or are expected to complete by August all the requirements for the degree of Bachelor of Business Administration and have been recommended by the faculty for that degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of Roanoke College and the Commonwealth of Virginia, I confer upon you the degree Bachelor of Business Administration with all the rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining to that degree. Please move the tassels from the right side of your mortarboards to the left to acknowledge your degree conferral, and I welcome you to the fellowship of educated men and women. Congratulations. I'd now like to introduce our co-salutatorians and our valedictorian. We're a community that pursues and recognizes academic excellence, of course. I introduce to you 3 students who've performed that way. I would like to introduce our co-salutatorians and our valedictorian. There are 2 salutatorians. Erin Keating is one of this year's salutatorians. Erin majored in literary studies, creative writing at Roanoke. Erin didn't ask you to stand. I should have done that. Would you please stand and face your classmates? Keep standing. Don't sit down yet. Erin majored in literary studies and creative writing. Her passion is studying Shakespeare, and she hopes one day to become a professor. As a freshman, she won a Fulbright Award to study Shakespeare acting techniques in London. This fall, she's headed to Drew University to earn a master's degree in history and culture. Erin, congratulations. Stephanie, please stand. This is Stephanie Shields. She's our other salutatorian. Stephanie majored in psychology with a concentration in neuroscience and a minor in German. She's one of 5 students who received Fulbright Awards this year. For the Fulbright, Stephanie will live in Munich for a year to do research on vocal learning and specific bat species. Last summer, she worked as a researcher in Hamburg, Germany, for the German Academic Services Research Internship in Science and Engineering. She hopes eventually to earn a PhD in neuroscience. Congratulations, Stephanie. Rebecca, would you please stand? This year's valedictorian for the class of 2017 is Rebecca Hudon. Rebecca majored in biology, minored in chemistry and music, and has a concentration in neuroscience. That's quite an interesting combination of interests, don't you think? Indeed, Rebecca will wow you with her many talents and interests. One of her professors, Chris Lassiter, says she's one of the most well-rounded students he has ever known. Rebecca's worked hard in her academic studies, including spending much of her time in the research lab doing research on genome editing tools to create mutant lines of zebrafish with Dr. Lassiter. She's a member of the honors program, a member of Phi Beta Kappa. Earlier this year, she was a finalist for the Rhodes Scholarship. That's not all. Rebecca has worked as the student manager in the Colquitt Center for 3 years. She plays the clarinet in the college's wind ensemble. She's musical director for Main Street, our women's a cappella group. She's also a talented figure skater. After Roanoke, she plans to return to Rhode Island, her home, and begin applying to medical schools. She hopes to earn eventually an MD and a PhD to become a general surgeon and specialize in trauma. Rebecca, I'd like to ask you to come forward and share your remarks with your classmates now.
To the family, friends, professors, staff, honored guests, and President and Mrs. Maxey, thank you so much for joining us here to celebrate our accomplishments as we graduate from Roanoke College. Your tireless support and guidance has helped us make it this far, and for that we are exceedingly grateful. To my classmates, welcome to the rest of your lives as college graduates. I know for many of us, it has not been the easiest of roads. When I first found out that I would be speaking at commencement and giving our farewell address, I worried about saying the right things. I didn't want to string along a series of cliches or to try to offer wisdom when, in all honesty, I could learn just as much from you as you could learn from me. I was so lost in thought on the content of this speech that I walked straight into a door while reading the email that notified me of my position as valedictorian. And I do have the bruises to prove that. I chuckled to myself because it reminded me that, obviously, grades aren't everything. Whether you are graduating with a 3.9 or a 2.5, what is most important is that we have all made it to this day and are ready to make our individual contributions to the world. Leaving Roanoke takes a tremendous amount of courage. I would not be the first senior to joke about failing a class so that I could stay here for another year. On this campus, we have created an atmosphere of comfort, and for many of us, a new home. The thought of leaving that behind is scary. However, this is not the first time we have faced such challenges, and it certainly won't be the last. During our time here, we have learned the importance of resilience and always moving forward. Every day we faced and conquered obstacles that would shape us into who we would become. We learned to multitask by writing papers while watching Stranger Things or House of Cards on Netflix, and to find balance between parties, academics, and most importantly, sleep. We took classes both in and outside of our majors for the sake of experience and the spirit of the liberal arts. In some cases, we even discovered hidden talents and new passions. We saw the dawn of new curricula in several majors and the honors program, as well as the building and opening of the Kreger Center. And with heavy hearts, we faced the tragic loss of beloved members of our community, including Kevin Hartley and Dr. Norman Fintel. These experiences have left their mark on us, and while they can be a heavy burden to bear, we have carried on with strength, courage, and conviction. As we take our next steps, the education we received here will continue to empower our forward projection. But along the way, there will be setbacks. While attending Roanoke College, I have faced my fair share of setbacks. As a biologist, I've watched experiments fail dozens of times, regardless of how much troubleshooting I do. As a musician, I know how terrible it feels when you miss a note or forget the words in front of an audience. And as someone who prides herself on academics, I've felt the sting of rejection from medical schools and scholarship committees alike. Embarrassment, shame, and rejection are hard feelings to overcome. They make you question your self-worth and your previous accomplishments. Sometimes you start to believe that you're letting down the ones who have supported and believed in you. When this happens, it feels easier to hide from the world in the privacy of your room, swaddled in a cocoon of blankets. And sometimes you need that. It's okay to feel the defeat before you, but know that one defeat does not define you. You are strong, you are courageous, and you will hatch from that blanket cocoon into someone who is better able to face whatever life throws at you. So, whether you are graduating from the largest department on campus, like our business majors, or the smallest, like Kenny McIntyre, who is our only senior graduating from the music department, do not forget to go forward bravely. This school has given us the tools we need to succeed, and we ourselves have found the courage. Courage to say what is on our minds, courage to challenge the normal course of the world, and courage to be who we are without remorse. Congratulations, Roanoke College class of 2017. Now go forth, blossom in the gardens of adversity, walk in the footsteps of strangers, paint your name in the sky, navigate through the shifting kaleidoscope of life, and make sure to look up while walking so you don't run into any doors along the way. Best of luck.
Thank you very much, Rebecca, and congratulations on your wonderful achievements. I'd now like to introduce our commencement speaker to you this morning. In an opinion editorial he wrote for the Richmond Times-Dispatch a couple of years ago, Bishop Jim Monty said, "Every morning our Commonwealth has 321,000 children who come to school hungry for food. No wonder Governor McAuliffe in his State of the Commonwealth address said, a key element of increasing student achievement is ensuring that every single child has access to quality nutrition. Before we feed their hunger for education, we need to feed their hunger for food," said Bishop Monty. He is always focusing on other people as he ministers to them. Bishop Monty is a leading figure in the Commonwealth of Virginia for hunger relief. This servant of God and humanity has made its life purpose to serve others, in fact, and serve admirably he has done. In addition to his 18 years of service as the Bishop of the Virginia Synod of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, Bishop Monty has served you and your college. He's been a trustee here for 18 years, which coincides with his bishop service. In that role, he speaks in the most humane, caring ways about you and your experiences here. He's been a champion for the relationship between Roanoke College and the Lutheran Church, opening minds and eyes to the potential of that relationship. We're a better college thanks to him. Bishop Monty has been a champion for Roanoke College in his wide travels. He's invited students to attend Roanoke. Some of you may be graduating thanks to the advocacy of Bishop Monty. He speaks with great enthusiasm about Roanoke College. Bishop Monty and his wife Linda have a daughter, Mim, who attended Roanoke a few years ago. She's now a physician herself and the mom of Bishop and Mrs. Monty's 3 wonderful grandchildren. He's been a champion of protecting the least among us and for religious tolerance. His work on hunger relief, on saving Virginians from predatory lenders, and helping others who struggle is admirable and impactful. He's a champion for relationships across religions and faiths. Bishop Monty is a champion in the ELCA for the church. As a bishop, he's considered one of the wisest, most devoted, most generous-hearted in the church. He attended Lenore Rhine University, the Lutheran Theological Southern Seminary, and Trinity Lutheran Seminary for his BA, Master of Divinity, and Master of Sacred Theology. He also received an Honorary Doctor of Divinity from Roanoke College in 2000. He was a beloved pastor and inspirational pastor in Richmond. Wherever he has been and with anyone around him, he's the epitome of goodwill and concern for others. In fact, if you know him, you know how much goodwill he creates about him. Through his faith and through his actions, he talks the talk and walks the walk. He's one of those people that if he did not exist, we would have to invent him. I welcome Bishop Jim Monty to the podium for your commencement address. Bishop Monty.
Oh yeah, that'd be great, but wait till I finish. President Maxey and his vice presidents, Mr. Mars Kreger and the members of the Board of Trustees, this august and esteemed faculty, wonderful staff, parents, grandparents, special honorees today. It is a privilege and a joy to be able to address the 2017 graduating class. There was a warehouse that was losing all kind of inventory, and they didn't know what to do, so they decided they ought to hire a guard who'd been doing this for about 25 years. He seemed to have a great insight on how to go about doing that, and so they employed him. He said, well, the first thing we got to do is put a fence all the way around the warehouse, only one gate in, and I'm going to stand right there at that gate. And so at 5 o'clock, as all the employees began to leave, he watched very carefully. Well, one of the employees coming out had a wheelbarrow, and in the wheelbarrow, he had this beautiful blue box with a big blue bow. The guard said, whoa, wait a minute. What you got there in the box? The man said, what you got in the box? Oh, I just got sawdust. Open up that box. It's right, open up that box. So he opened up the box, and sure enough, there in the middle of it was just nothing but sawdust. He said, okay, go ahead. Well, the next day the man comes, and this time in the wheelbarrow he's got an orange box with a big orange bow, and the man said, whoa, what you got in the box? Well, open up that box. So this time he opened up the box, he took his baton and he mashed down everywhere, and he said, all right, go ahead. Third day, the man comes with a yellow box with a big green bow on it. He says, what's in the box? Open up that box. So he opened up the box. This time he put his hands down in the sawdust everywhere that he could think of going, and he couldn't find anything. He said, well, go ahead. Fourth day he comes in there with the wheelbarrow, and there's the purple box with a great big purple bow. He says, open up that box. So he opens that box. This time he goes into the corners. This time he starts to inspect the bows. Can't figure this out. Fifth day, he comes with a striped box and a striped ribbon. He says, open up that box. He opens up the box. This goes on for 2 weeks. And finally, the man says to the man with the wheelbarrow coming out with the boxes, says, I give up. I've been doing this for 25 years. I know there is something that's not right about this. If you'll just tell me, I won't get you in trouble. The man said, I'm stealing wheelbarrows. Now, that story only works if you find yourself fixated on the box and totally missing the presence and the value of the wheelbarrow. I've seen lots of beautiful boxes over the last 29 years with the office right here on the campus. But the life of a liberal arts college, you know, is to open your eyes to what undergirds, what carries, what's deeper than the box that currently has all your attention. Because what if the box you're fixated on really is nothing but holding dust in the long run? Oh, I've seen little shavers, I've seen big studs, I've seen all kinds of nails over these years. I've seen all the trappings that makes a beautiful box. But I wonder this day about the wheelbarrow in the lives of each of you. And I wonder if you even see it. Who carries you? Who bears you up? I pray you have someone or something in whom you place your whole life. This college was created with the church acting as a wheelbarrow, speaking of a God in relationship with this world and with us, because to God we matter, who holds us accountable to God and to our neighbor, to whom we must give an answer. This Lutheran college has a church that still in this 500th year points to the wheelbarrow of a crucified and risen Jesus the Christ, to whom we in confidence entrust our loved ones and possessions into his care. In the same way, Jesus spoke of the story about that mustard seed that becomes the largest bush, and the birds willingly build their nests and place their nest eggs in its branches. Just so liberal arts colleges ask its students to consider where they're placing all the boxes of their lives. Lutherans confess the wheelbarrow of a God that comes down to do what we hate to do, to go after those who've severed their relationship and do whatever necessary to restore the relationship because you're so important to God. What do you do with a God who comes after you, who hunts you down with love, undergirds your life, calls you to do the very same thing with the least among you? Liberal arts teach it's not only about the boxes, it's about the wheelbarrow. Liberal arts helps us to think more deeply not only about the trappings of boxes of sawdust that do matter a lot, but also about the importance of a foundation that undergirds all our boxes. Do we have our lives resting in a greater vision? Graduation's a great time for young boxes, freshly robed in maroon and black with ribbons and even tassels, to consider who bore them up, carried them to this very time. It's a great day to ask their parents about the wheelbarrow to their life. Who or what carries them? What truth bears them up? Let that question be your entree for your meal's discussion. After all, that is what we sing about in the alma mater of our college. Seems to me that first we sing about the boxes in the second stanza, learning to live and loving as we're learning, and then comes the wheelbarrow, seeking the truths for which our hearts are yearning. Sounds to me a lot like Augustine. Our hearts are restless, O Lord, till they find their rest in you. I mean, doesn't it seem to you that the third line's the wheelbarrow to the first two lines, that learning to live and loving to learn? It comes from a heart that has found the truth that undergirds the singer's heart, that there's a joy and integrity and character that undergirds them, that I tell you, hiring managers are longing to see in outstanding boxes they're interviewing for a job. And seeking the truth for which our hearts are yearning, see, that's not a relative truth. That's not an alternative fact truth. It's a truth for which you'll bet it all on. Willing to go down with that truth you hold as your foundation, your raft in this ocean of mortality, your compass in this world, your wheelbarrow where you load in all your boxes. It's why we at Roanoke College want to talk about the whole person, the intellectual, ethical, personal, spiritual. We want a whole person in liberal arts, not a person with holes. So to every box your eyes are fixated on, what's the wheelbarrow that undergirds it? In 2001, I shadowed the senior chaplain who was a Lutheran Navy chaplain on the aircraft carrier, the George Washington. Out in the Gulf Stream, we were there for 4 days. I watched the chaplain deliver dozens of Red Cross messages of joy and tragedy. The chaplain just stopped, spoke with sailors and officers all over the 18 decks. 18 decks. And it was the same powerful message to every sailor on that aircraft carrier, regardless of the deck they were on, regardless of the rank on their shoulder, regardless of their circumstances. Chaplain always said, "You matter. You matter to this ship. You matter to each other. You matter to God. You matter to me." You got a wheelbarrow speaks that kind of love to you? You know the poem Late Fragment by Raymond Carver goes like this. "And did you get what you wanted from this life? Even so, I did. And what did you want? To call myself beloved, to feel myself beloved on the earth." Best thing that man did stealing wheelbarrows for that guard was he opened his eyes. Who opened your eyes these past 4 years at Roanoke? In the 9th chapter of John, people ask the blind man who now finally sees, "Who opened your eyes?" Who opened your eyes now from what you were blind to when you began here at Roanoke College? Because Sidney Harris wrote, "Most people are mirrors, reflecting the moods and emotions of the time. Few are windows, bringing light to bear on the dark corners where troubles fester. The whole purpose of education," Harris writes, "is to turn mirrors into windows." Augustine wrote, "I learned most not from those who taught me, but from those who talked with me." So who opened your eyes? Who should you be sure to thank today? To hunt down until you find them among all the tables and chairs. Personally thank them for all the times they honored, respected you, because they talked with you, walked with you, showed you matter to them by their interests, their presence, their time, their words, their prayers, their letters of recommendation. Elizabeth Coleman wrote, "The only thing that should make leaving college bearable is the hope against hope you're taking the best part of it with you." Who are the best part of this college you now take with you? Who opened your eyes? You ready to be a window and not a mirror? Ready to open eyes? Ready to tell your neighbor they really matter? Because George Eliot wrote in Middlemarch, "People glorify all sorts of bravery except the bravery they might show on behalf of their nearest neighbors." Have you got a wheelbarrow that just doesn't love you but also loves your neighbor? Because just like that aircraft carrier and its 18 decks, liberal arts reveals there are real decks within our society. There are decks in our world. There are decks within our own life. This is a time in our nation for us to be brave. Brave on behalf of our neighbors. According to Peter Coy, writing in Bloomberg Businessweek in February 2017, the gap between blacks and whites in income is big, but nowhere near as big as the gap in wealth. The median white household has $13 in net wealth for every $1 in net wealth of the medium black household. For Latinos, it's not much better, $10 versus $1. We got decks in our society. So shall we mirror what we see or open windows? According to Daniel Kurt, writing in Investopedia, July 20th, 2016, if you want to know whether or not you're in the top 1% of income earners, you ready? You need to be earning $400. In the United States, a family of 4 will cross into the poverty line when they have an income of $36,000. We got decks in this world. I was the firstborn son of the family. One day my mother gave me a 1-pound bag of M&Ms that I was to share with my younger brother 9 and my younger sister 7. Well, now I was in management. And I can tell you right away there were going to be decks in my way of distribution, because now I was a steward of the mysteries of M&Ms. Now I was certainly the one who should be well compensated for the position of power and oversight that had been given to me. And so I distributed the M&Ms, I decided, according to the size of the person, the weight of the person, the age of the person, and the responsibility level. It never dawned on me that my younger siblings would actually turn to the, shall we say, the wheelbarrow of the family, my mother, and with their paltry amount of M&Ms in their hands, open them up to say, here, look how few M&Ms we received from amongst so many M&Ms distributed. Never did I anticipate the level of wrath that I saw in my mother's eyes as she turned to me. My loving mother of grace had suddenly become a very wrath-filled mother, upset by the lack of sharing that had happened among all her children. That day I learned that it certainly makes a very big difference if you know there is truly someone to whom we are accountable for the lives of all our sisters and brothers in this world and the decks we create or sustain. It may be like having our eyes open that underneath the boxes we found so wonderful in our station in life that there was truly a wheelbarrow all along to whom we are accountable. That's what Liberal Arts College does. It eagerly showcases wheelbarrows and invites boxes of sawdust to see how they fit within them, try them out. And Lutheran higher education will roll out the wheelbarrow of the gospel of Jesus Christ and let it stand among all the wheelbarrows of time, even as it unashamedly, places a cross at the highest point of the campus, revealing the generations that have supported this college, desiring an education for its students that's deeper than just the boxes. So have you got a wheelbarrow you're going to load up with all your boxes this afternoon? You want a starter for your next job or position or grad school interview that reflects your wheelbarrow? Start with this one. If you have integrity, nothing else matters. If you don't have integrity, nothing else matters. One of the hardest grading institutions in the country, bar none, with all of its integrity, is handing you today its diploma, its sign of our blessing and our confidence in you upon your future. If it were up to me, I'd bless your minds, your hearts, your mouths, your hands, and your feet as you walked across the stage. We spent 4 years doing our best to open your eyes to way more than boxes of sawdust. We did our best to showcase wheelbarrows for your life. If you're leaving this college now with just such a wheelbarrow into which you are now going to place every box you value for your life, well then, even adding up all the tuition, room, and board, I'll tell you right now, what you got, it's a steal.
Thank you, Bishop Monty, for your inspiring remarks. Please join me in expressing our appreciation to Bishop Monty once more. Our faculty members have been your guides in your exploration at Roanoke. Many of them deserve recognition, but today I recognize the Dean of the College, Richard Smith, to present the Dean's Awards for exemplary teaching and service to our faculty and to introduce those faculty members.
As the President just said, it's my pleasure to present the Dean's Awards for exemplary teaching and professional achievement. These awards recognize outstanding performances, and they're among the highest awards the college confers on its faculty. I begin with the Dean's Award for exemplary teaching, whose recipient this year is Dr. William Skip Brincevich, Assistant and soon-to-be Associate Professor of Chemistry. Dr. Brincevich states, quote, "The one word most often used to describe my classes is intense. I do not disagree," end quote. Yet despite the intensity and rigor of his classes, Dr. Brincevich consistently receives extremely high ratings from students. This achievement of rigor, attested to by his courses and his GPA data, alongside with positive student response, is an ideal that all of us continually strive toward as educators. But not many of us test these skills out in the course most feared by pre-medical students, organic chemistry. Dr. Brincevich writes, "From the first day, I set high expectations and tirelessly encouraged my students to exceed them. Yet, setting high expectations and pushing students to achieve is only half the equation. Students are more willing to commit to a difficult class when they recognize that my role as instructor is not to tear them down, but to build them up." Dr. Brincevich works tirelessly to achieve this goal. One department chair described his classroom presentations as lucid and dynamic, with students clearly appreciative of the easy give-and-take rapport they have with him. Another chair noted excellent organization and clear goals for lecture, clear board work, helpful supplemental handouts, and great student engagement, despite organic chemistry being the subject that many students love to hate. Dr. Brincevich's willingness to go the extra mile to help students achieve success is also evident from the frequent evening problem sessions he runs and his constant availabilities to students who need additional help. His students, therefore, are quite fortunate to find themselves in his classroom, and we are fortunate to have him on our faculty. We honor him today with the 2017 Dean's Exemplary Award for Teaching. Dr. Brincevich, will you please stand? It's now my pleasure to recognize Dr. David Nichols, who is this year's recipient of the Dean's Award for Exemplary Professional Achievement. In the 8 years that he's been at Roanoke College, Dr. Nichols, who's an associate professor of psychology, has significantly advanced his professional career. His resume includes numerous peer-reviewed journal articles with a variety of co-authors, many conference presentations, and several internal and external successful grant applications. His work ranges from the research methods and tools of psychology to investigating visual perception, perceptions of motion, cognition of decision-making, and the brain's perception of time. And his scholarly output would rival that achieved at the very best liberal arts colleges. Additionally, he served as an ad hoc reviewer for prestigious journals and organizations such as the American Journal of Psychology and the National Science Foundation. He has mentored students and cultivated their academic achievement through participation in research projects. More than 20 students have co-authored conference papers or presentations with him, and quite a few have gone on to respected graduate programs. The relatively new neuroscience concentration, a great addition to our curriculum, exists in large part as a result of his efforts and his commitment to engagement with local organizations such as the Brain Injury Services of Southwest Virginia and the Salem VA Hospital have yielded multiple unique opportunities for our students to participate in research and internships. We applaud these achievements and look forward to watching this very promising career continue to develop. We are indeed fortunate that this excellent teacher scholar is here at Roanoke College, and we are pleased to honor him today with the 2017 Dean's Award for Exemplary Professional Achievement. Dr. Nichols, will you please stand? And now will the faculty and staff of Roanoke College and all retired faculty and retired staff please rise. Ladies and gentlemen, it's with great pride that I present to you the heart and soul of this college, the faculty and staff. Together they provide remarkable and steadfast support to our students. Thank you for all your great work.
The college proclaims what it holds in highest esteem through conferring of degrees. A special sign of esteem is the awarding of honorary degrees. It's an honor and a privilege to bestow this special honor on two distinguished individuals today. They are Donald J. Kerr, Roanoke College class of '60, and Elizabeth Beth Macy. Each of these individuals has made contributions to the common good, and each serves as an exemplar for our graduates today. Vice President for Academic Affairs and Dean of the College, Richard Smith, and the Chair of our Board of Trustees, Mr. Morris Kerr, will join me in presenting our honorary degrees. I'd like to take just a moment to acknowledge Mr. Morris Kerr, class of 1964. You might recognize his name from the building just up the way. He's the primary person behind the vision and execution of our incredible Kreger Center. He's also chair of our Board of Trustees. This is Mr. Kreger's 7th commencement as board chair. In his role as a Roanoke trustee, he's been a visionary, helping bring about improvements in your Roanoke experience. Mr. Kreger and his wife Sheila believe in you and the future impact you'll have on our nation and the world. They've been dedicated volunteers. Please join me in thanking Mr. Kreger and Mrs. Kreger. And now I'd like to ask Mr. Kerr, Dr. Smith, and Mr. Kreger to join me at the podium. This is Mr. Kreger and Mr. Kerr, excuse me.
He's the old guy.
It's my distinct honor to recognize Mr. Donald J. Kerr and to recommend him to you for the degree of Doctor of Commerce, honoris causa. Donald John Kerr, founder of Kerr Industries, is well known to the Roanoke College community. A standout athlete during his student days at Roanoke, he carries the lessons he learned on the playing field into a successful business career. He has invested time, talent, and resources to give back to his alma mater and on behalf of social causes. Mr. Kerr was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, attending schools there and working as an apprentice in his grandfather's tool and die shop before being recruited to play soccer for Roanoke. As a student, he served as secretary and president of Pi Kappa Phi fraternity and was a 4-year member of the Monogram Club. A two-sport athlete, he ran track and was a member of the men's soccer team from 1956 to 1959, which he captained for 2 years. He was voted All-Mason-Dixon Conference and All-State for soccer in both 1958 and 59. He set the Virginia State Tournament scoring record as a senior and led Roanoke to the Virginia State Championship in 1957. He received a Bachelor's of Arts degree in 1960, majoring in political science and history. After graduation, Mr. Kerr served as a member of the U.S. Intelligence Service Far East from 1961 to 1965. He started his career in the food industry with the Campbell Soup Company in 1965, where he worked for 15 years managing operations in New Jersey, South Carolina, Arkansas, and California. He then served as Vice President of Operations at John Labatt Limited before joining Crestar Food Products, a subsidiary of the H.J. Heinz Company, in 1985. He retired as President and CEO from Crestar in 1999 and formed Kerr Industries, where he's President and CEO. Kerr Industries is comprised of Bright Harvest Sweet Potato Company, located in Clarksville, Arkansas, and Dakota Brands International, located in Jamestown, North Dakota. Mr. Kerr served as board member and treasurer for the Veritas Institute for Racial Justice and Reconciliation. He also invested his own funds in a unique initiative to employ out-of-work Americans at his sweet potato planting and harvesting operation in Arkansas. Mr. Kerr has been generous in many unusual ways, including making a donation of 40,000 pounds of sweet potatoes to the college for the potato drop annually held for many years. This campus-wide service project brought together faculty, staff, and students to bag potatoes to donate to various food banks and homeless shelters. He also funded soccer fields for young people in Belize, Central America, as well as the Kerr-Krager Fieldhouse. He served on the President's Advisory Board before being elected to the Board of Trustees in 1998, where he served for 18 years. He's a member of the Society of 1842 and a lifetime distinguished member of the Roanoke College Associates. For his athletic achievements, Mr. Kerr was inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame in 2009. Mr. Kerr provided a lead gift that made possible the stadium that is now home to Roanoke's College soccer, field hockey, and lacrosse teams. It was dedicated in 2007 as the Donald J. Kerr Stadium. Don and his wife, Linda, reside in Brentwood, Tennessee. He has 3 adult children, Kimberly, Rence, and Wendy. Roanoke College honors Mr. Kerr for his business acumen, community leadership, and for his contributions of time and talent to the college. The Board of Trustees of Roanoke College confers upon Donald J. Kerr on this day, May 6, 2017, the honorary degree of Doctor of Commerce with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto.
By virtue of the authority invested in me by the faculty of Roanoke College and the Roanoke Board of Trustees, I now confer upon you, Donald J. Kerr, the degree Doctor of Commerce, honoris causa. Congratulations, Dr. Kerr. would like to ask Ms. Macy, Dr. Smith, and Mr. Kreger to please join me at the podium.
President Maxey, it's my honor to present to you an honorary degree recipient it's my distinct honor to recognize Ms. Elizabeth Beth Macy and to recommend her to you for the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa. Beth Macy is the author of 2 New York Times best-selling books and a former Roanoke Times reporter. She has won more than a dozen national awards, including a fellowship at the Nieman Foundation for Journalism at Harvard University and 2 Casey Medals for meritorious coverage of children and families. Her writing has appeared in Oprah's magazine, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, NewYorker.com, Salon, and the Christian Science Monitor. Ms. Macy is a native of Urbana, Ohio, and graduated from Bowling Green State University with a Bachelor of Science in Journalism. She earned her master's degree in English and creative writing from Hollins University and completed the Nieman Fellowship in 2009-2010. Following her graduation from Bowling Green, Ms. Macy's was a features reporter for the Savannah Morning News for 2 years. And then she moved to Roanoke in 1989 to write feature articles for the Roanoke Times, where she worked until 2014. As a reporter, she often covered those viewed as outsiders and underdogs, including immigrants, refugees, caregivers for the elderly, veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder, and displaced factory workers. Her book, Factory Man, How One Furniture Maker Battling Offshoring Stayed Local and Helped Save an American Town, told the story of displaced Virginia factory workers. The book earned Ms. Macy the prestigious J. Anthony Lucas Work in Progress Award, which recognizes excellence in nonfiction that exemplifies literary grace and commitment to serious research and social concern. Factory Man was a New York Times notable book for 2014. The daughter of a factory worker mother, Ms. Macy brought to life the after effects of globalization in small communities throughout America by telling the story of John Bassett III. He was a businessman who fought to keep his Galax furniture factory going at a time when almost all his American competitors closed up shop and imported cheaper products instead. The compelling story captured the attention of actor and filmmaker Tom Hanks, whose production company Playtone is developing a movie based on Factory Man. Ms. Macy's second book, True Vine, a strange and troubling tale of 2 brothers in Jim Crow America, was a 2016 New York Times notable book and a finalist for the year's Kirkus Prize. In True Vine, Ms. Macy pieced together the true story of the exploitation of 2 albino African-American brothers from rural Virginia who spent years with a traveling circus as freak show exhibits. With this narrative as a vehicle, Ms. Macy grappled with difficult issues of race and greed that are still relevant today. Immediately upon the book's release, actor and film producer Leonardo DiCaprio sought to acquire the movie rights, and a future film is planned. Roanoke College honors Beth Macy for her contributions in the field of journalism and nonfiction storytelling. The Board of Trustees of Roanoke College confers upon Beth Macy on this day, May 6, 2017, the honorary degree of Doctors of Letters with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the faculty of Roanoke College and the Board of Trustees of Roanoke College, I now confer upon you, Beth Macy, the degree Doctor of Letters, honoris causa. It is now my privilege to present to you Dr. Macy. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Kerr and Dr. Macy one more time.
Okay, it's finally time. So, before we start with the awarding of the individual awarding of degrees, I need to say that to ensure that each family has photos capturing this moment, we have professional photographers taking photos of your graduate, both receiving their diploma and standing in front of the Roanoke College backdrop. These photos will be available, maybe in front of the Roanoke College backdrop. These photos will be available online early next week following graduation. Dean Leah Russell and Faculty Marshal Chris Lee, please come forward for the presentation of diplomas. We now present diplomas to our 2017 graduates. They will be presented in the order in which they appear in the program. Please hold your applause until all candidates in a given category have received their diplomas. Bachelor of Arts candidates, please rise as the marshals direct you and come forward to receive your diplomas as the registrar calls your name. You will proceed individually across this stage, receive your diplomas, return to your seat, and be seated. President Maxey, I present to you individually for their diplomas those students on whom you have just conferred the degree of Bachelor of Arts. The chair of our board, Mr. Morris Krager, and the dean will also congratulate our graduates.
Joseph Anthony Abatello IV. Sarah Ali Abdikadir. Jordan Alexander Abraham, in absentia. Caitlin Claire Allen. Jamie Renee Allen, summa cum laude. Mariana Norris Araujo, magna cum laude. Lee Douglas Armbuster. Asia Danielle Arnold. Emma Simone Astley. Cassandra Stamatia Bolosos. Emma Catherine Barker. Samuel Riley Bartell. Paige Elizabeth Bartram. Caroline Victoria Beam, summa cum laude. Benjamin Peyton Bentley. Elisa Elizabeth Bidwell, summa cum laude. Benjamin Harrison Bilasali. Danielle Elizabeth Bingaman, cum laude. Jessica Helen Block, magna cum laude. Megan Ann Brannigan. Taylor Chaumont Breezy, magna cum laude. Sarah Elizabeth Brighton. Samuel Robert Bryan. Matthew Austin Burns. Kiara Renee Butler. Joseph Aaron Carnes. Carlo John Carpenter, cum laude. Omari Kenrick Chancellor. Carrie Beth Childers. May Puent Thayer Chu, summa cum laude. Edith Alexandra Cisneros, cum laude. Catherine Mary Aileen Citrone. Shane Stafford Clark. Aaron Ashley Cole. Emily Ann Catherine Coleman. Rebecca Denise Conter. Diamante Lee Cornish, cum laude. Benjamin Paul Kogel, cum laude. Emily Catherine Baker Crane, magna cum laude. Santana Mickle Crimmins. Sarah Jane Cushing. Victoria Marie Daguerre Bradford. Emily Ann Dinsmore, magna cum laude. Katerina Emma DeSimone. Lydia Frances Day. Alexandra Elizabeth DeFelice, cum laude. Nicholas Allen Dillon. Alexa Juanita Claire Duran. Amanda Lee Downs. Michaela Vivian Dunford. Chelsea Storm Durham. Dante Garay Elliott. Kelly Elaine Fagan. Darcy Johanna Fechter. Ramey Scott Farrell. Jake Martin Flannery. David Stephen Flowers II. Jamela Chantel Foster. David Stefan Franzek. Jacqueline Sarah Frost. Julia Lynn Frymar. Stephanie Lynn Gaines, cum laude. Elena Brooke Gardiner. Hannah Margaret Gardner, cum laude. Emily Nicole Gino. Tori Rochelle George, in absentia. Gabrielle Kristen Gary, magna cum laude. Ryan James Glascott. Kylie Alexandra Glover. Brianna Keohinani Wild Govea, summa cum laude. Emma Catherine Graybill, cum laude. Abigail Lynn Guarino, cum laude. Abby Elizabeth Habercorn, cum laude. Lucas Wolfric Hagel. Nicholas Paul Hatfield. Autumn Elizabeth Hill. Olivia Ray Heiner. Exree John Hip III. Coleman Thomas Holf. Sarah Amanda Howell. Brandy Jordan Hughes. Chelsea Darlene Hutton, cum laude. Orestes Kyriakos Elias, magna cum laude. Stephen Thomas Jackson. Claudia Julianne James. Peter Bradley Johnson III. Aaron Casey Keating, salutatorian, summa cum laude. Reed Porter Kegel. Danielle Elisa Kelly. Kathleen Carissa Kelly. Wesley Allen Knowles, magna cum laude. Megan Virginia Kraus. Madison Claire Kunstman. James Thomas Kuzma. Jacqueline Ann Landon. Catherine Eileen Lane. Jana Leah Lanham. Emily Grace Lawrence. Jameson Robert LeClaire. Robin Anita Lewis in absentia. Jillian Catherine Lowe. Bryn Aileen McDougall, cum laude. Aaron Reddington Mahoney. Elisa Margaret Moline, magna cum laude. Patrick Brennan Martin. Ryan Thomas Martin. Tyler Douglas McEachern. Brogan Lee McInerney, in absentia. Miranda Brooke McGuire. Kenneth Scott McIntyre, cum laude. Emily Grace McQueen, summa cum laude. Aaron Bailey McWethy, in absentia. Kathleen Marie Medvets. Tyler O'Brien Messick. Rachel Elizabeth Miles, summa cum laude. Andrew Christopher Miller. Matthew David Miller. Ryan Joseph Manalya. Matthew Harrison Maudlin. Jerica Shalonda Moore. Nicholas Clay Moore. Aisha Mpinga. Kaylee Marie Murphy, magna cum laude. Gina Ann Nishadka. Joseph Lynn Nesbitt Jr., in absentia. Daniel Ayers Osborne, summa cum laude. Catherine Elizabeth Dyer Pace. Alexis Rose Papa. Hannah Catherine Perry, in absentia. Helen Phillips, magna cum laude. Madison Laney Pincus. Tessa Marie Pleben, cum laude. Haley Lynn Porter. Serena Justine Porter. Kristen Kathleen Price. Brenda Prieto Velasquez. Bridget Marie Reardon. Bridget Elizabeth Reck. Kelsey Gray Reisinger, summa cum laude. Sean Alexander Rich. Laura Mahen Roberts. Casey Marie Robinson. Bridget Mary Rose, summa cum laude. Mitchell Lee Rothermel. Malise Flanders Solomon, summa cum laude. Swarali Satay. Sarah Elizabeth Schmel. Marianne Hardaway Shaw. Anna Hunt Syburn. Sarah Elizabeth Sanoski, cum laude in absentia. Bree Ann Smith. Richard Alexander Smith, summa cum laude. Jamelia Moonrise Stately. Joseph Cody Statler, magna cum laude. Courtney Alexandra Staten. Brianna Grace Story. Margaret Elizabeth Strackna. Christopher Michael Sullivan. Jonathan Scott Swearingen. Cole Patrick Tankersley. Christina Alexis Taylor, cum laude. Anthony D'Alessio Teixeira. Megan Catherine Thompson. Sylvia Erin Tickle, summa cum laude. Kathleen Ann Tobin. Nicholas Christopher Tortora. Julie Elizabeth Tugwell, cum laude. Dean Edward Villani. Emma Rose Vonderleith, summa cum laude. Alexandra Kathleen Voorhees, cum laude. Allison Elaine Wallace. Reed Elizabeth Walter, cum laude. Ariel Nicole Wardle, in absentia. Margot Madeline Warner, cum laude.